Oh man, this one's gonna be a blast. Mr. DJ back for my 80s and 90s video channel, YouTube channel rather. I'm gonna count down the playlist, fancy playlist. Ooh boy, we're going back on this one. Just finished one for 2006. Now we're going back to the week of April the 9th, 1988. Ooh man. Yes. I got a little bit of everything on here, including, now remember back in the 80s, hip hop was more or less, and it's still in its infancy, and among the hip hop records I got in this fancy playlist, Eric B. and Rakim, and Houdini. I'd forgotten about a song by Houdini I got on my fancy playlist, The Crash, but there's Como D. Whoa, baby! Samantha Fox I got on here, and of course I got some heavy metal, Kingdom Come. Oh man, just a variety of stuff. Bruce Springsteen on this fancy playlist, number 40. Debuting, I got 6 debuts on this fancy playlist. Number 40, heavy metal goddess, Lita Ford. Lita Ford, formerly of the group The Runaways, an all-girl band back in the mid to late 70s. They released their first album in 1976, and Lita Ford was 17 years old when the Runaways released their album, their debut album. Joan Jett was in the group. Joan Jett would skyrocket to fame, she'd flame definitely in the early 80s. I love rock and roll songs like her cover of Crimson and Clover, and what was that song she did in the summer of 1982? Do You Want to Touch? And but Lita Ford would have to wait just a little bit longer to achieve her hit status, and it would be we're talking about the hair metal era that she was kind of associated with. Def Leppard, White Line. Remember Fixin' on the Edge of a Broken Heart, 1988. We're talking about hair metal heaven, baby. Oh, man. Yes, Lita Ford. Beautiful blonde. She always wore these leather things, and that was just part of her image. Lita Ford, Kiss Me Deadly. Now, the song Kiss Me Deadly, it was written by a guy named, he was a bass player. He played bass with Billy Idol. It was written by a guy named Mick Smiley. And, well, like I mentioned before, he played bass with Billy Idol. Mike Chapman produced this record. He produced Lita Ford's album. Mike Chapman, this guy is a major league producer back in the day. Almost iconic. He's worked with Susie Quattro. If you read anything about Blondie, you're going to run into Mike Chapman's name big time. And Pat Benatar, he's worked with Pat Benatar. When Mike Chapman heard Mike Smiley's demo of Kiss Me Deadly, he put Lita Ford on it. They weren't sure about the song, but as it turned out, this record kicked ass. It was a big hit for her back in the spring and summer of 1988 for Lita Ford, but it was tampered. It was tempered. The release of the record, she was thrilled to the gills with it, but it was tempered by the fact that her dad died of brain cancer just before this record was released. But she did enjoy the fame this record brought her. Man. Lita Ford at number 40, debuting at number 40 on my fancy playlist, Kiss Me Deadly, the week of April 9th, 1988.